What's up guys, CJ here and welcome back to this week's all-new Star Wars video, and the massive news out of this weekend involves a certain prequel's protagonist making his return to one of the biggest Star Wars fan events out there. That's right, with Star Wars Celebration just a week and a half away, we've gotten our first details about a very special panel celebrating the franchise's 40th anniversary this year, with guests from Mark Hamill, of course, to Ian McDiarmid, Billy D. Williams, Peter Mayhew, with the entire thing hosted by Warwick Davis. But that panel also includes a special guest that hasn't appeared at a Star Wars Celebration in years, literally since 2002, maybe due to his major role in the Really Love Him or Really Hate Him prequels. Anakin Skywalker himself, Hayden Christensen. And this has led to a flurry of speculation from fans and outlets alike about whether or not Christensen could return to the franchise, but with Emperor Palpatine himself, Ian McDiarmid, also appearing, his return for this panel is more than likely just for the anniversary, so I take all that speculation with a huge grain of salt. That being said, it did get me thinking, if Christensen does return and him coming back now after 15 years away is just more than a coincidence, how and where might we see him next? The most likely scenario is of course a Darth Vader movie, which I think is a very real possibility, especially after Rogue One showed us just a fraction of the epic badassness a whole movie about the iconic Sith Lord would contain. There are a few things working against this though. I mean, he wasn't brought back to play the role in Rogue One, as the suit was actually filled by 6'7" Spencer Wilding, and in some scenes by stuntman Daniel Naprous, while James Earl Jones returned as that iconic voice, and you'd almost kind of have to assume that's how they'd want to do a Darth Vader film too. If the film was set sometime in the early days of his reign of terror as a Sith Lord though, maybe right after episode 3 as he was hunting down the last of the Jedi, you would potentially want an actor more like Christensen back, as I presume there would be a scene or two without the mask on. Another viable option for Christensen's return could be episode 8, and while this kind of sounds very surprising on the face of it, it really isn't that far-fetched given that Anakin's Force Ghost very nearly appeared in episode 7. For that, and maybe one of the coolest things designed for the movie, concept art showed that he would flow back and forth between Anakin and Darth Vader, basically representing the fallen and redeemed Jedi's respective light and dark sides. Given that episode 8 will follow Rey's training with Luke, it's long been speculated we might see Obi-Wan's Force Ghost, and or maybe Yoda's too, but Anakin would be another character that would make a very interesting inclusion. Not only was he, of course, an extremely powerful Force user who would probably be able to teach Rey a thing or two, the truth about his coming back to the light could be a major plot point, as Kylo seems to worship Vader and potentially doesn't even know he was ultimately redeemed. That's at least, I think, the outcome that I would love to see the most. I think you could make a Vader movie without Christensen, and so I think Disney would opt to do that, but bringing him back in episode 8, where he could contribute to the plot in such a meaningful way, even in a minor role, I'm all in for. And just like Vader himself was redeemed, maybe Christensen can be redeemed in the eyes of Star Wars fans too. Of course, let me know in the comment section down below if you think Hayden Christensen is really coming back and where or how you'd like to see him return. But that's going to do it for me here. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like if you like what you saw and subscribe for more great content every single day. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next time.